This girl goes on a blind date. She was not expecting this blind date to not show up, and obviously she gets upset. She spent about $7 for the Uber, which is less than a mile away, but she planned on having some drinks. So she says, "Hey, do you mind reimbursing me through Venmo the $7 I spent to come here and the $7 I'm going to spend to go back?" Well, he didn't reply until about 3 hours later, and he sends her $700, and the message he attached to the Venmo was so rude, and you guys will not believe what happens next.
I never thought I'd be the main character in one of those viral internet stories. You know the ones, they start with something relatable, take a wild turn, and end with everybody having an opinion about, well, what you should have done differently. But here I am 3 weeks later, still dealing with the aftermath of what should have been a simple Friday night date. It started innocent enough. I matched with this guy Marcus on Hinge. His profile wasn't flashy, but it was interesting. Lots of quirky photos, a few with microphones that suggested he performed somehow. When we matched, our banter was quick and clever. There was this confident edge to everything he said that was both annoying and attractive, and that way that makes you want to see if the person's actually as smart as you think they are. After a week of texting, he suggested dinner at this new tapas place downtown that I've been dying to try. When I asked what he did for work, he was very vague. He said he made content and did comedy stuff. I didn't press it. I mean, everyone's got a podcast on YouTube these days, right? I figured he was probably one of those guys with like 2,000 followers who calls himself a creator, but still has a day job. No judgment, we're all out here hustling. I spent way too long getting ready that night. Changed outfits 3 times, did a full face of makeup, which I rarely bother with for the first dates anymore. I even straightened my hair, which is a solid 40-minute commitment. I usually reserve for special occasions. I just wanted to look effortless but impressive. The perfect balance where it seems like you just naturally look amazing. I ordered an Uber because I planned on having a couple drinks. $7 and 23 minutes later. I was at the restaurant 5 minutes early because my mother raised me right. I got a table and ordered a glass of wine while I waited. 10 minutes passed, then 20, and I sent a casual, "Here at the table, whenever you're ready," smiley face. It was a text that tried desperately not to sound as annoyed as I felt. My wine glass was nearly empty when my phone finally rang. The message was brief. A family emergency had come up suddenly and his brother was in trouble. He's really sorry, but he has to cancel. He would make it up to me. I sat there another 5 minutes, finishing my wine and debating whether to just order food for myself. But the restaurant was packed with happy couples and groups of friends, all having the Friday night I was supposed to be having. The pity look from my server when I asked for the check was enough to make my decision. $7 more for an Uber home, alone, hungry, and feeling like an idiot. That night, I ordered takeout and scrolled through every social media account I could find of his, looking for clues about whether his emergency was real. There wasn't much. His Instagram was mostly a promotional post for various comedy shows. His Twitter was just retweets of other comedians, nothing personal, nothing about a brother. I woke up the next morning still annoyed, not heartbroken. We hadn't even met. But that particular type of frustration that comes from wasting time, effort, and money, that's when I had a, petty idea. That would change everything. I opened up Venmo and typed his name. We're not connected there, but his username matched his Instagram handle. I requested $7 with a note that said, "For the Uber to the date you bailed on." I didn't expect him to pay it. It was a small act of defiance, a way to let him know that his actions had consequences, even tiny ones. I imagined him seeing it, feeling guilty, and ignoring it, or maybe he would pay it with an apologetic message. What I did not expect was what happened 3 hours later. My phone buzzed. Venmo notification, he paid me. Not $7, $700, with a note that simply said, "Here, buy some self-esteem and keep the change." I stared at my phone screen, not comprehending at first. Then the meaning sank in, and my stomach dropped. He had not just stood me up, he was mocking me, humiliating me, and acting like I requested compensation for a waste of my time. It made me pathetic, like I was so desperate and worthless that I needed to be taught a lesson with large sum of money. It's insulting. The hurt quickly turned to rage. Who does this? Who responds to a mildly petty request with such deliberate cruelty? I kept staring at the notification, my hands shaking. $700? He'd spent $700 just to insult me. Without thinking it through, I took a screenshot. I blacked out his last name and profile picture, but left his username visible. I wrote a caption, "Got stood up last night, asked for my Uber fare back, and this is how he responded. Men are truly something else." Then I posted it to Twitter, where I had like 600 followers, mostly friends and people I know. I didn't expect what happened next. By the time I woke up the next morning, the tweet had 30,000 likes and 10K retweets. My phone was an endless stream of notifications. People asking for details, women sharing similar experiences, and men defensively explaining why this was not representative of them. My DMs were flooded. And that's when things started to get darker. Someone had figured out who he was based on the username. Marcus was not just some random guy with delusions of being a content creator. He had a modest following. It was like, 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, 350,000 on TikTok. He did character bits and street interviews, and apparently had recently started writing for a comedy website I'd actually heard of. By midday, people were tagging the comedy websites in tweets with my screenshot, and by evening the website had issued a statement that they were investigating internal situations, and by the following morning they announced that they were no longer, working with Marcus, cutting ties. And that's when the real storm hit. My mentions exploded with his fans. They told me I was destroying his career over a joke, that the $700 Venmo thing was a bit, that he did. Sending ridiculous amounts of money with outrageous notes as a kind of social experiment. They said that I should have known who he was, should have recognized a bit, and should have had a sense of humor. Some sent me links to previous videos where he did similar stuff, though none that I could find were quite as mean-spirited as what he's done to me. But there were compliments and all sorts of people having compilations of him sending $500 with notes like, "Buy a personality, get better material." Always punching up his fans, insisted on it, sending these messages to other comedians or influencers who could take a joke. Never to a regular person who has just been stood up on a date. That detail did not matter, not to them. Neither did the fact that I found his TikTok from that night, posted at exactly 8:47 p.m., right when we were supposed to be having dinner, showing him at some comedy club across town. No family emergency, no brother in trouble, just a straight-up lie because he had gotten a better offer. The hate kept coming. They found my Instagram, my Facebook, my LinkedIn. They left comments calling me a clout chaser, a career ruiner, a humorless you-know-what. Some created videos analyzing my cancelization of Marcus, picking apart my appearance and my profile picture, speculating about what kind of terrible date I must be to deserve being stood up. His response came 2 days later. It was a note on an app, apologizing and, saying sorry about the stuff posted to Twitter that read more like a PR statement than a genuine remorse. I want to address the recent misunderstandings. It began, already framing it as my fault for not getting the joke. He explained that his Venmo bits were a cornerstone of his comedy brand, and while he acknowledged that content can get lost, he was disappointed that something had been, quote, taken out of its intended frame and used to damage my professional relationship. He never apologized for standing me up, never mentioned the fake family emergency, never even admitted that he had been needlessly cruel to a stranger. Instead, he positioned himself as the victim of cancel culture, and me as an opportunist who had been exploiting his comedy for attention. You want to know the worst part? It worked, at least with his audience. They rallied around him, started a GoFundMe to replace his lost income, and doubled down on harassment of me. Someone even created a website with my name in the URL that was just a page listing all the reasons I was humorless harpy who deserves to be alone. I made my account private and I stopped reading the comments. I even took a mental health day from work because I could not focus with my phone constantly buzzing with hate notifications. And in the quiet moments, when I was alone with my thoughts, I started second-guessing myself. Should I have known who he was? Should I have recognized it was a bit? Was I too sensitive? Did I overreact by posting it publicly? Did I really need to ask for $7 in the first place? My friend assured me I've done nothing wrong. That he was the a-hole who stood me up, lied about why, and then spent $700 to insult my intelligence. That even if it was his brand of comedy, it was punching down and cruel. That his fans were a mob looking for someone to blame rather than expecting their idol to take responsibility for his actions. Rationally, I knew they were right, but it's hard to feel rational when thousands of strangers are calling you awful names online. I looked at my Venmo balance daily. That $700 sat there, a constant reminder. I thought about donating it to charity, maybe a woman's shelter or mental health organization. I thought about refunding it with a note telling him exactly what I thought about his comedy. I even thought about just keeping it as a sort of a-hole tax. But every option felt like it would just restart the cycle. Any move I made would become more content for him, more fodder for his fans, more reason for the internet to have opinions about me. Well, 3 weeks later, things have mostly died down. His fans have found new causes to rally around, and the comedy website quietly hired a new writer. Marcus has pivoted his content to focus more on his persecution by cancel culture, which seems to be working well. His follower count is skyrocketing, and I'm just a footnote in his little origin story now. Yesterday, I finally decided what to do with the money. I kept $7 for the Uber. I donated $93 to charity. Well, that teaches digital literacy and online safety to young women, and I sent the remaining $600 back to him via Venmo, with no note at all. I didn't need to say anything. The money itself was my message. That I wasn't keeping his charity, that I didn't need his lesson. That returning most but not all of it was my own small act of defiance. My way of saying that his actions do have consequences, however minor. He'll probably spin it into some content somehow, make me the villain again. His fans will probably eat it up, but I don't care. I've made my peace with the fact that, in his story, I'll be the humorless woman who could not take a joke. But in mine, the real life, he's just another man who thought he could treat someone badly without consequences, then was shocked when called out. I won't be checking his social media to see how he responds. I won't be engaging with his fans anymore. I'm moving on with my life. A little more cautious about who I agree to meet. A little more selective about what I share online. If there's a lesson in all this, it's not the one he tried to teach me with his $700. It's, well, that the internet makes it easy to forget there's real people on the other side of our screens. That what seems funny in one context can be devastating in another. That actions have consequences sometimes far beyond what we intend. People keep asking if I regret posting the screenshot. Knowing exactly what I know now, and honestly, I'm not sure. Part of me wishes I've just blocked him and moved on with my life. But another part of me is happy I exposed the kind of person he is. Beneath the carefully curated online persona, and no, I did not destroy his career, he did. I just held up the mirror and let everyone else see. Alright, guys, what a story. I have 2 comments we're going to check out, and these people do not agree with each other. As usual, let's see who we're siding with in today's story. The first one comes from Brutal Honesty for Real. Are you kidding me? OP did nothing wrong here. This comedian straight up lied about a family emergency, stood her up, then spent $700 just to insult her when she asked for a completely reasonable $7 Uber reimbursement. Then, when she called him out publicly, which she had every right to do, his rabid fans attacked her, and somehow she's supposed to feel bad about it. Give me a break. His bit isn't even funny. Like, hey, send me $700. I'm not gonna complain about it. It's just being mean to people with extra steps. If your comedy can't survive basic accountability, maybe you're just not talented. And the fact that he never even apologized for the fake emergency shows exactly what kind of person he is. OP, you should have kept all the money and donated it to charity. You gave him more grace than he deserves by returning most of it. Standing ovation for holding that mirror up. Comment number 2. Does not think the same. This one comes from Logical Perspective 88. Look, I'll probably get downvoted to oblivion, but hey, I think the original poster definitely overreacted. Was the guy a jerk? Yeah, but posting private financial transactions online knowing it could go viral was excessive. She could have just blocked him and moved on with her life instead of essentially just going for him and having the internet mob on her. The punishment doesn't fit the crime. People cancel plans all the time, it happens, and hey, I get it. The Venmo request itself was already petty. Who asked for $7 back? So she started the petty cycle, and if she had done even the basic research on who she was, I don't know, meeting up with, considering she was, in her eyes, meeting up with a complete stranger, she would have known about his comedy style. His response was harsh, but it was literally his known bit. Like getting offended at a roast comedian for roasting you. Kinda like Tom Brady did? Well, it doesn't look good. Now, he's lost his job and getting threats over his life over what was essentially a bad date and a mean joke. The internet pile-on is a way disproportionate to what actually happened. OP should have just refunded the money immediately when things got out of hand.